Hello everyone, welcome to the next session of the videos about drawing in design and architecture. And today we're going to slowly get to the different forms, like much more, from life. But I will still come back to the geometric forms a little bit later in other videos for different reasons. So let's go, just I'm going to share the screen with you and we start right away. So as you can see, there is a box of milk. Yeah, I just painted white. So it's kind of the shades visible and everything. So how you would draw this? Of course, I am not going to draw exactly what we see on the picture because it's not the objective. Objective is to train yourself to be able to have one reference, but draw all kind of other visions of the same object. So before we start, of course, I'm going to just kind of very quickly analyze what we have here. So for example, uh, from the picture, from the reference, pictorial reference, you can just go and kind of verify proportions of the object, how it relates, proportionally each part to itself. So you can kind of draw this less or more okay, in different situations and so on. So, well, you can either choose the top part, yeah, to find the proportions, because as you can see, the box itself is actually full square. Yes, so you have prism, which is composed from approximately square shape. Yeah, but now the sides, how they relate to themselves, you can do this with the stick. Yeah, if you take the stick, for example, yeah, any kind of wooden stick or something, or even your pencil, and you just kind of take the vertical and verify how it relates to the rest, you might find approximately the proportions. But let's do kind of, let's say you have the picture and you will do the same with the stick. So for example, if I cut in half somewhere and I go that way, yeah, and I go that way, so you can see that it is approximately square, yeah. So if you want to do it, kind of find out how the square would be, how many times you're going to multiply with the rest of the body, you have the point, and of course you go exactly in the middle of this entire form. Yes, approximately like that, yeah, less or more. And you have another point here. So as you remember the technique, you just go through this, yeah, straightforward, and you're going to get to the other. So you have what? You have two squares actually. Yes, you don't have verticals there because that is the camera was too close, and you have deformation normally from the objective from the lenses of the camera. But that's very normal. So as remember, I mentioned you already with the geometric forms, whenever you draw from the pictures, don't draw exactly as you see these forms on the pictures, because on the picture, the form is going to be always kind of like in three vanishing points. Yes, if you take the pictures very close to it. So we know that it's two squares, isn't it? Okay, and before we start drawing, we're still going to find one thing. This part over here, yeah, how it is this, and another the same is here. All this together, it's going to be what? Half square. So to the top, we have two squares and half of this rectangle is going to be the top for the kind of roof of the bottle, and that's it. Okay. About the circle, we're gonna or the cup, we're gonna talk a little bit later. So let's just start drawing. We know the proportions. We have approximately two squares for the main body. The main body is, of course, what is this part, isn't it? And this part over there. Yeah, those are main corpus of this box. So let's start. So now I'm gonna try to imagine this in completely different way. I can even draw this vertical, yes? Oh, let's try to draw vertical, this laying down, but I don't mind because I know the proportions approximately how it goes. So let's first start drawing to draw this in two vanishing point perspective, not three, but two. So I'm gonna kind of imagine myself, this bottle, let's say, somewhere like this. And now we're gonna draw this time, not putting too many, the conversions lines, yeah, the kind of grid, we'll try to do a little bit without, like, kind of economize our effort. So for example, I will just find somehow on the base of this bottle, let's say this kind of perspective, or even more. And now I have a choice. Sorry, I have to put the horizontal line when I want. So of course I can put it somewhere here, yeah. So I'm going to have the other perspective going this way. And of course, the convergences line is going to be going like this. But I can also just simply imagine that I look a little bit from the top on this bottle. Yes, on this kind of, not bottle, but the box of milk. So so what do you do? Let's go. So I'm going to have gentle convergence here, because whenever you have two vanishing points, you're going to have, of course, gentle convergence. And that's approximately less or more my square in perspective, maybe even little slightly higher. Yeah, somewhere like this looks much better. So I can do it intuitively, kind of perspective of two boxes. Yeah, but something which would be kind of reasonable. Yeah, this is a little bit too much, you see, so you just kind of correct this line. You have less or more two squares here. Yeah, you can always verify your perception of proportions and by squares by doing what we have done in the beginning. Yeah, so you just do the connect the corners. You have middle line. If you just kind of go the line straight up, so from any corner you go through this point, and let's just go, let's say it's going to be straight line, it's going to go there. Yeah, so you see, you close. Yeah, so that is approximately this box. So let's go. I'm going to search now for the other conversions going to the right vanishing point, because here we have to the left. So now I have choice. I can make it long, I can make it like this, or I can make it much more stronger, closer to the body of the bottle. Anyway, I'm going to do, I will do kind of normal. So let's say it's going to be approximately something like this, maybe a little bit more, yeah, much more dynamic, something like this, yes. So what we do, of course, here is going to be also convergence to the right, gentle. So you see, look, this and this, they slightly converge to the right, you see, okay. So of course, with the half of it, I go also the same way. It's going to be kind of in the middle over here, yeah. And now what do we need here? Approximately square also, yes. So we just kind of go and make kind of, square. Square is kind of form, maybe a little bit more, yes. Something like this, approximately, yes. That's kind of this. And now here we can kind of adjust a little bit, because I think the square is going to be much better that way. So we have kind of the main box of the milk in two vanishing point perspective. Yes. And now what do we have? You remember the halfway you go up. Yes. So you find the middle. Somewhere there is the middle. Yeah. So what for we need the middle, I'm going to explain you in the moment, because we're going to put this side over here. We're going to put on this side over here. Yeah. We can put it also here. Doesn't matter. You have a choice. But let's say I'm going to put it here. So now half of this I'm going to put up there, and now half of the half is there. So this is the top of the kind of roof, yes? So we go there, and we just kind of connect the corners here and there. If I would do this from this side, so I would just simply get this part over here, yeah, over there. And I would kind of have half of it. So now the roof gonna be over here, you see? So you can go either way you like. But because I already started this, so I just kind of leave it as it is. So now in conversions, you go for the base, kind of, you see the top part of the roof, yeah, over there, like this. And now, you see, you have one angle there. And normally, if you look at the object on the table very close to you, you don't going to see any convergences here. You're going to see approximately almost parallel these angles, yeah? There is a method in perspective. And normally, if you have, for example, I'm just going to move this a little bit to the left to explain this. Yeah, so there is a method in perspective, two vanishing point perspective, that when you have two vanishing points, yeah, on the horizontal line, and you draw some kind of object here and there, yeah, yeah. In this case, it had to be very small. So let's say something around those lines, yeah, over there, okay. and let's say that's the bottle, or not the bottle, but the box of the milk, yeah. So it's somewhere there and somewhere there, okay, normally you would go, yeah. So we have approximately 2 squares, yeah, over here. And now, if you want to know exactly to the perfection those angles here, what you would have to do, you will, where's the vanishing point? You will go with the vertical lines from each side, yeah? And now you will find the convergence over here and over there, yeah? But the differences is going to be so difficult of those angles. It's going to be so minimal, so not really important that you forget this. And another problem is the vertical lines, and you will have to stick many papers on the top in order to find this point. We're not going to do that. Yes. So actually, if you're going to go and check it with your stick, for example, you take any kind of stick you have, yeah, and you're going to take a line to the angle, yeah, close one eye, align to the angle, and just verify with the other, you will see almost the same. So it's kind of, even if you do them parallel, the angles, they still look great. Yeah, you don't have to worry about some kind of, things which are not right. So of course we go, so I wouldn't worry about this. Even if you do the angles parallel, if you do many roofs, for example, let's say you draw many buildings and you have many roofs. So all the other roofs, I would rather draw parallel, because there's not going to be big difference, between this. It's not going to be very visible, the difference of those kind of angles of the roofs. So I rather prefer to explain you things the simplest way than really get you in some kind of trouble and trying to find out, all the details. This is good for, when you draw, for example, very precise drawing and so, but in kind of illustrations of in design and the architecture, you don't always, especially in markets and so on, when you present the project or the interior or the exterior form, you don't really bother with it. This is good for someone who is really constructing engineering kind of airplanes, or when the perfection needs to be really done. But then you use a software which actually able to do everything for you, so you don't have to worry about that. Anyway, so let's go further. So now we have the raising up part, yes. So let's go here. We have this part, another half is this, and of course we try to kind of converge a little bit to the left, yeah, over here, and we have another somewhere there, yeah. Okay, so you see you have less or more the box done, yes. And now, of course, you will kind of make it rounded a little bit. This forms, yeah. So you kind of, because you see there's kind of ovalish forms here a little bit ovalish also here, because those are kind of folded and stick together, yes. So you're going to have kind of folding here a little bit, the corners is going to be kind of slightly rounded here, slightly rounded there. So when you're going to draw this box, the final shapes, you're going to take this in consideration in order to get this really the form of this. And you see even this corners around it, yes, and they're done for a reason, so you don't going to hit yourself or make a hole in your hand or something, because this kind of carton, when it's sharp edge, you can actually hurt yourself very seriously if by accident you just kind of, hit very strongly your hand. So everything is thought about. So the designers, when they do this kind of things, they think prefer to prevent, then it's too late. So everything here is going to be rounded, here is going to be rounded, and so on. Now you see you have this kind of folding inside, you're going to see from here, and we have this kind of view. What's going to happen here? Look, you see this line which converges to the left, you see the size. Look, this is going to converge there, you see. Okay, it's going to converge there. So you're going to have actually this kind of entrance there to the box, yeah. And of course this is the folds like this. To the half of this is the fold, so it goes this way and it goes this way, and the same goes there, and the same goes to the other corner, yeah. You have this kind of fold. So if you look from the top, it's going to be something around those lines. You see you have this kind of folding there from the top of the box, yes. So any kind of open box like this, if you would like to fold, so of course you can fold the corners, but this is done like this, that the top part is folded here, so it gets this part of it that gets inside here and there, and the other goes inside here and there. Yeah. And of course, this is not just one carton, because the carton, even this here, you have two cartons together, fold it, close it. Anyway, it's kind of, complicated. I would suggest you to take a box of the milk when you finish the milk, and just simply go and unfold everything in order to understand how really these shapes work, how it is folded all together by the machine. Yeah, because on the base also you have folding, but this kind of rectangular form. Yeah, I mean triangular. So you have one part going on top of the other, and so on. But anyway, we don't gonna worry about this. We try to draw this as nicely as possible. So let's go now. Actually, it's going to go even to the top over there. From here is going to be the angle, you see, from here. Okay, so you're going to kind of go a little bit up there. Okay, so anyway, so we have the main body. Now you see we have a cup there, yeah, on top. And this is interesting thing, because look, now the surface of this is an angle. So you see, if you would put the cup over here or over there, what you would do, of course, major, minor, and from here, major and perpendicular to it, minor. Yes, as I was explaining this. But here, the surface angle change. So now you have to do what? Look to this line perpendicularly. Yeah, you at this. Yes. Okay, and in this case, you're going to have what? You're going to have, of course, in the angle, the base of this cup. You see, ellipse going to go that way. And now perpendicular up to this, of course, angular line, which going to be, otherwise, normally would be this, yeah, if there's no raising of the forms or nothing, is just like that. So it's very easy. And now the top is approximately what, 1 2 3 squares or something, yeah. Anyway, in proportion is going to be approximately another going to go somewhere here, yeah. And you're going to have this. So you have the actually the top of it. Now, of course, you can, if you want to really know the exact proportions of the bottle, you will take this measurement, and from this point, you will go with this measurement over there. So it could happen that you might have actually more than 2 squares, but this kind of adjustment you can do when you have the form ready. So, for example, let's imagine that this form is like this, but you see, when I look at this form and in this form, what I see, it seems to me like this milk box is kind of slightly longer than visually I see it, yes? So now you can adjust this stuff. Yeah, very easy. You can actually get even intuitively a little bit longer here, for example, and there. Yeah, and it's going to be kind of, you see, it's much more right. It looks much more right now. Yes, you don't have to do that, but you can kind of adjust this, when you draw. So let's draw. I'm going to adjust in the drawing. So, for example, I'm going to take another layer here, as I usually do, and I just kind of put it a little bit lighter there. So let's go now. I can change the color now for something of this kind, let's say black. And let's go briefly, yeah? I'm going to draw this box. So let's go. We have the straight lines. So as I said, now we can make it slightly longer, just not much, just little, as we could probably get this proportions here. So we just go there approximately like this. What's going to happen here? Of course, the base is going to be going this way, and here the base is going to go this way, yeah? But even if you do the same lines, it's going to be okay. I just kind of, as we did previously, it's still going to be okay, the box. But if you kind of extend this a little bit, uh, um, uh, you see that's kind of better look. So for example, here is a little bit rounded the corner, yes. So we go and you go there, and look, inside is a little bit kind of landed, because that's kind of, stick together. Yes, these forms kind of folded. So try to do the lines as nice as possible. So here a little bit that, and you're going to have some kind of folding visible from the inside. Yes, a little bit kind of line of folding. Yes, and here look, this corner is rounded and this corner of the object is rounded. So you don't do one line. If you want this to have impression of roundnesses, you will kind of go and make it what? Gentle one, two lines, you see? So this is not to the edge, but a little bit kind of, you can feel the roundnesses, yes? And also in the thickness, if you kind of add a little bit thickness here, if you want to do it perfectly, you would add kind of a little bit thickness to these boards over here, these sides, yeah? A little bit here, a little bit better, yeah, somewhere there, yeah? Okay, so, and you go up now, yeah? Gently over there, and a little bit kind of rounded, yes? And the same little bit kind of rounded there and straight down, yeah? Okay, so you just go. And now, of course, you see this little bit from the top. So you will, normally you should have kind of like two thin lines because you will have certain thickness of this board from the top, yes? And here what is happening again is rounded, you see? So you don't do line, but you don't go kind of like gentle, just a second. Yeah, so kind of gentle one or just straight lines. That's very important that you do few lines, but straight, yeah? I mean, kind of straight, yeah, like this. So also here you do what? Kind of, in the right angle, one, two, three lines, yeah? A little bit better, yeah? You go this way, and kind of, oops, sorry, and this way, yeah? And you have kind of, you see, you feel kind of softer folding here. And also here you will kind of follow, yeah? So, and you don't have to connect the lines. You can leave some space here, you see, white interruption. It's going to be even looking much more natural, the box than if you would do just kind of cornerish parts, yeah? And that's not everything because I'm going to show you in the moment something else. So for example, a little bit around this here as well. And so we have basically the box, the kind of essential lines of the form done, yes? But now we put the cap. So you see, you have the base for the kind of, cap over there, yeah? You can adjust this a little bit better if you kind of, want to do this kind of, nice or whatever, you can kind of do this uh, perfectly, that way. Maybe a little bit rounder, even on the base, a little bit kind of rounder here, and this is a little bit less rounder because you have, this is much more larger and this is much more narrower. So slightly 1 millimeter or so, there is not big difference. Actually, you can do even much more rounder. Let me try to get this a little bit rounder. So I would just kind of adjust this form, yes? So I wouldn't do exactly the same. I would kind of make this with one gesture. I try to do kind of the roundness of one, there. So kind of, it's okay, a few lines, kind of sketchy way looking, yeah? So of course you have the other part on the top. So just that, this is kind of tricky stuff on the vacuum tablet to do in one gesture. But anyway, let's try to kind of complete as it possible. Yeah, over here. Well, a little bit there. Okay, you don't have this problem on the paper because you turn the block and you do from the angles and the directions you want to actually drag the line, and it's much more easier than on the vacuum tablet. Anyway, whoever draws on the digital surfaces, you know perfectly what I'm talking about. So we have the box. Now, as you can see, look, even this form is a little bit rounded, you see? So if you want to make much more and realistically looking, so what you would do here, I would also go a little bit, make these lines over there, maybe a little bit kind of, you see, bully, yeah, a little bit kind of going this way, you see? So we'd kind of adjust this, and it's going to look much more realistically, yeah, if you want to kind of be perfect. But I'm going to leave it as it is. And now, because you can put, this is going to be completely in shadow, yeah, this part over there, and you're going to have some kind of shade projecting a little bit here, yeah, from this part. Of course, on this entire cup, you're going to have kind of core shadow, and after is lighter here and lighter a little bit there, yeah. So if you want to kind of dimensionalize this, of course, we'll have to choose always the direction of the light, but let's say we don't have time for it. So just kind of, basically do a little bit here and there. And in order to dimensionalize these parts, a little bit some kind of shade here, yeah, and maybe the cap going to project some kind of shade on the base, so you can kind of add a little bit something here. And now, of course, this is also not the corner, but a little bit rounded. So you can add one line, for example, a little bit thinner line here and thinner line somewhere here. Yeah, no, a little bit over there. Yeah. And so it's kind of, you see, looks rounded. And the same also here. Yeah. If you add kind of a little bit thinner, for example, a little bit, let's say thinner here. Yeah. And on the base also, you kind of add, oops, sorry, add a little bit kind of, thinner line going there, so a little bit closer to the base. So you're going to have kind of, you see, oblique, this form going to be kind of rounded. Yeah. And if you choose, let's say if the light is coming somewhere from here, so what you're going to have here, probably you're going to have some kind of shadow, but you leave the light line here, because that's normally what's going to happen. You see, this corner is lighter than this and this. Yeah. So in order to dimensionalize the forms, you will kind of, if you want to put any kind of, shades here, so you kind of leave this, of course, a line this way. Yeah. So if you want to do kind of, much more, elaborated shades, you would go a little bit much more that way in order to make the core shadows, this side nicely with the shade and everything. Yeah, I will go there and there. So you can of course work it out in these forms perfectly if you take your time. And the same you can do also with these forms. Yeah, and any of these forms. And even here you can add a little bit cross hatching and so on, and even on the base cross hatching. Anyway, so if I take the red out, you see, you can now actually, if the light is from here, you can emphasize actually a little bit certain, certain verticals there. Yeah, over there on the base, darker a little bit on the base. Yeah, not everywhere, just in certain parts. You see, you can leave lighter on the corners. Yeah, and here, of course, probably here would be a little bit something darker. Yeah, and maybe over there a little bit darker. Yeah, over there, and also here a little bit darker, and on the base of the cap a little bit kind of, you see, a little bit kind of darker. So you're going to get much more dimensionality. And also you can do this on the corner over there. So the corner itself, you will put like kind of, this was too strong, a little bit too few kind of darker lines. Okay, so you have the corner, and the same you can do also on this folding over there. So you kind of emphasize a little bit this kind of part. Okay, so you're going to have kind of, much more nicer surface here. Of course, I didn't put the shades here to the end, but anyway, it's something of this kind. So now, having one form like this, of course, you can imagine this form any way you like. Yeah, you can do it even differently. So let's do another brief drawing. For example, if I add one like this. So let's do another bottle, but first I'm going to put this drawing a little bit smaller. So you can imagine all kind of forms, and furthermore, what you could actually do, you can actually imagine not one but two together. Yeah, two together. So for example, believe me, that's the best exercises for drawing, preparing yourself to be comfortable in drawing in perspective for design and architecture would be this kind of exercises where I can now imagine, yeah, for example, not just one box, but two or three or more. But I'm going to do just two, for example. So now you can imagine that you might have what? You might have one box, let's say, and you can even draw them in three vanishing point perspective. So first, I would go with the boxes, let's say, this way. So you see, I have kind of convergences lines to the left, yeah? Kind of arm of the perspective, something around those lines. Let's say I have one box here, yeah? I have one box here. So I just intuitively do less or more two squares. And as I said, after you can adjust those forms if you see that something is not perfect. Because when you sketch, you want to do fast sketching. You don't want to spend hours and hours to kind of draw because it's kind of, you discourage yourself and there's too many things. Just try to simplify whatever you do. And now, of course, I'm going to go what? That way, yeah? You have some kind of conversions to the right, yeah? And it needs to be also kind of logic, not too strong. Okay, so for example, well, I have this, as you know, is approximately square. So somewhere there would be the squarey part. Yeah, so you see, I have to adjust the top. Yeah, so the top going to be a little bit narrower than I normally, you know, that I estimated at the beginning. So it's something going to be approximately around those lines. So now this part of the folding you can do from either either side. Yeah. So normally here you have this the kind of folding, which is the base. If you want to do it and you're going to do the other part, you take it half because you know the proportions, half over there, and this half you divide in half, and you're going to have the roofing, and you're going to have this part, and you're going to have the other stuff. If you would do the back on the back, but let's say this is going to be too easy. I would like to do this in front. So what I'm going to do, well, less or more, the half would be less or more somewhere, half somewhere there. So I'm going to have what? Somewhere here. Actually, we can do even differently. Let's say I'm going to do this from the top. So in this case, I will put in half of it. I would extend this part, yeah, over there, okay, over there like this. Yeah, I will extend it. I'm sorry. Okay, and now half of it is here, so approximately somewhere here would be this folding. Yeah. So now what do we do here? Of course, in the middle you can also take, you know, the angular parts, connect the corners in order to have the middle. So somewhere here you're going to have this, so you just connect to the roof, yeah, like this, and you're going to have what? This part go there is another half like this one, yes, and you go now. This you just have to do vertically, finish the points, and now you have this angle, so you know that it's approximately less parallel. In this case, it's going to be almost parallel. It's going to be perfectly parallel. Yeah, if you do like this, it's perfectly almost parallel. You don't want to have any difference. You don't see any difference. And here you have this, and you have the other side of it, and here's the folding, and you have actually the box done here. Yeah, the milk box is done here. Okay, the one. Of course, here what's going to have it? You have this base. You see, this is the kind of horizontal for this part of the box, the roof. So perpendicular to this is going to be what? It's going to be the major and minor. So you see, you're going to have almost full circle there. Okay. The only difference is going to be that now from this direction is going towards you. So another, you're going to have a little bit lower over there. And you're going to have this kind of, just a second, let me do this better, is a much more smaller the space there. So you can almost have two the same circles in order to do the cup. Yeah. So I'm going to, oops, this was okay. I just kind of much more lighter lines going to do here. And after we're going to draw, we're going to adjust this. So you have actually this box. And now I'm going to imagine that on top of this is another one. Yeah. And so, for example, I know that I need 1 square. Yeah. Because this is approximately what? Kind of this and this, less or more 1 square or 2 squares and little. Okay. On the height. So, okay. If I'm going to put another box there, so what I'm going to do? This is approximately the size. Yes. So I can go now a little bit extended there, a little bit extended there towards the composition, perspective. And you go also with these lines over there. And you can imagine that this extends a little bit this form, a little bit, yeah, somewhere there. You have the corner. So now you go with the prism, the essential prism of it. That's what you're going to see it. And of course, on the base, I'm going to see what? Approximately square, yeah. So I just kind of try to make the convergences that way. So I have approximately square side here. And I go now to this right form perspective over there, to the right, yeah, to the right. And I have how many? 2 squares approximately and little, yeah. So let's say one is going to be approximately here, another over there. I'm going to add a little bit here somewhere, yeah. So I have the basic prism I have here, yeah. And also here, you, of course, you have to converge to these convergences of this box. So you have the main form on the top. Of course, we can adjust after all the details because, you know, it's just sketching. We try to construct this box on top of the other box, yes? And you can kind of construct beside whatever, you can play with those. So now, let's say that here is the base of the box for the milk. Yeah, it's kind of folding on the lower part. And here now we're going to have what? Half of this approximately are going to extend. So it's going to be somewhere there. Half of it I'm going to take it there. And I'm going to have approximately, let's say, the roofing going this way. Yeah, this folding. And you're going to have this. And you're going to have a little bit the top of it visible there. Yeah, the cup, you don't going to see it because it's everything behind is this prism. So you don't see really what is happening there. So you see, like this, you're actually ready to draw these two boxes. You see, you imagine it, yeah? You didn't actually, you don't have these boxes. You have one box can serve you for all kind of, multiple creation of your own. So let's just draw briefly these two boxes, much more nicely, okay? And for example, maybe I choose this time a little bit different color, for example, well, this kind of, let's say, a little bit kind of bluish, Prussian blue. So let's go, and I'm gonna draw it. Yeah. So look, I'm gonna draw kind of. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna make it a little bit larger. Yeah, a little bit. Oops, sorry. I have to go to this layer. Yeah. So let's go a little bit larger. Yeah. So we can kind of do this, and let's go. Yeah. Let's finish this. So you don't go from one corner to the other. Yeah, you can go, of course, with very thin lines, but let's say I'm going to try to make this kind of nicer. So I just not going to kind of go right away with the kind of final lines. I'm going to just kind of draw this, and you see I am not drawing from one corner to the other. Why? Because I'm going to after add what here, a little bit the roundnesses. So I go this way, yeah, or maybe from there this way, because it's whenever on the digital surface it's better to drag the straight line from one side or the other. Well, let's say that's approximately it. And here, of course, I go there, yeah. I have this side approximately less or more, a bit better, yeah, like this. And you have the base over here. So first I'm going to kind of go through the basic forms, and after I'm going to try to kind of make them nicer. So I'm going to have, of course, this, yeah, over here, this kind of folding, and I'm going to have a little bit that one, oops, sorry, this one over there, oops, a little bit better, like this and like this, yeah. And I have, of course, in the perspective, this part going, yeah, on the top. And of course, what I'm going to have it here, the inner part, yeah, of the folding there. And of course, we have the top of this box, mid box over here, yeah, over there. Yeah, okay. So now the other one is under, yeah. So it's somewhere, you see here, you have the other one, yeah, visible, yeah. You have this, yeah. You see this there, okay. And you have, of course, the front, yeah. So you have one line here, for example, approximately, yes, a little bit straighter, kind of one here and there. And now you have the folding here. So I just kind of make it first very light lines, yeah, to just the main forms. And here, of course, I have this part. And here I see a little bit the vertical of the part over there. And I have this folding there. And I have approximately the end of it somewhere there. I can right away do two thin lines together because of the thickness of the carton. And you go there, yeah. And of course, it's parallel line for this base. Of course, here one, you can do right away, one, two, three kind of lines. So it's going to be much more rounder, this corner over here, yeah. And the same you can do also here, yeah. You can add a little bit kind of lighter, lighter line here, lighter line there. So it's going to be, when you add after the roundness, it's going to be like this. And now we go with the end. You see, the end of the box is somewhere there, yeah. You're going to see a little bit, yeah, something. So you see kind of a little bit the corner, let's say a little bit rounded. I'm going to make it a little bit kind of rounded. Or let's say you have the end of it. Yeah, it's very little visible, so it's kind of really almost, not visible at all. Yeah, so you just kind of put a little bit kind of something there. Okay, and of course here a little bit rounded. Yeah, a little bit better, a little bit kind of like that, and kind of try to make a straight line. Okay, going this way. Of course, as I said, we can draw this in three vanishing point perspective. So if you want to adjust in three vanishing point perspective, you can do it even like that, yeah? So what you're gonna do, of course, you can choose, let's say that this is less or more kind of, vertical here, for example. So let's just modify briefly this. So I'm gonna have slight conversions here a little bit to the third vanishing point. So I can cut it here, and the same gonna happen over there, yeah? Okay, so now you see this, I don't gonna actually have it, yeah. These lines, I don't gonna have it, yeah. So I just kind of adjust now. I change this for the three vanishing point kind of view. So this side gonna be, oops, sorry, less or more gonna go less or more that way, yeah. And here, what happens now, we're gonna have from this vertical line over here, we're gonna have the conversions going a little bit this way, yes. So let's just find out that this is going to be approximately going a little bit, you see, this way over here. So I am not exaggerating with three vanishing point. I'm just making this kind of soft, yeah, not very strong. And the same are going to be here, yeah. So if I eliminate just the verticals here, yeah, just the verticals, so you can kind of adjust this form entirely, yeah. And you're going to have the other one now going a little bit, you see, to the third vanishing point. And this is going to be also going a little bit to the third vanishing point, yeah. Very gentle. You can, of course, make it stronger, but the strongest not always look great, yeah. So it's rather be kind of careful with this. And now you're going to have, you see, to this convergence to the third vanishing point down, you just kind of go with this angle, which would kind of be, oops, sorry, which will kind of be approximately, as it is on the lower box. Yeah, so for example, if I go there, so you have approximately this kind of angle. So of course now I will just adjust a little bit the forms over there, yeah, because everything else would slightly change. Now I'm going to take these angles out because now I have the extension. The extension going to be also half of the square is going to be somewhere there, but it's going to go a little bit this way, yes? So now, halfway, so you see, small adjustment, they're not really important, but always better to do this nicely. And of course, this goes to the second vanishing point, and this form go to the other second vanishing point on the right, over here, yeah, over there somewhere. And you have, of course, the other stuff here and there. So basically, you actually have done, I would transform these two boxes in kind of three vanishing point view, yeah? And also the angle gonna, if you have this three vanishing point view, so you're gonna have this angle gently a little bit kind of raising slightly the entire form here and there. So you're gonna have approximately something around those lines, yeah? So here is not gonna be much change because you're gonna have approximately one circular ellipse kind of over here, and another going to be, oops, sorry, a little bit visible from the, going to be a little bit, oops, sorry, a little bit nicer, going to be a little bit visible from this part over there, yeah, so it's too much, because you have to have really in the middle, coming from the middle, so it's going to be a little bit here, you see, over there, and like this, yeah, something of this kind, okay, for this cup. Okay, so we can do this a little bit nicer. So now let's go the corners, kind of round it a little bit the corners, yeah. So kind of a little bit push here, yeah, and a little bit push over there, yeah. Of course, here we have a little bit push roundness, yeah, over there, the corners. Of course, here we have a little bit kind of rounder this part, yeah. I'm gonna just take off the red because it bothers a little bit, so just take it off the red. And now we're going to see the forms much more nicer. Also a little bit rounded here, a little bit rounded over there. And also here you will have a little bit roundness, a little bit roundness here and so on. And the corners going to be a little bit kind of rounder, yeah. And also here you're going to have the corner rounder. This is going to be rounder, and here a little bit round, oops, sorry, a little bit kind of rounder and rounder here and rounder there, yeah. So all these roundnesses, you just kind of emphasize a little bit the angles here and there, okay, and it's going to be okay. So now you want to do a little bit, also here a little bit kind of not one line, but kind of like one and two, because everything is kind of, really oblique, slightly oblique here and there, yeah. So just go add a little bit kind of few lines here and there, okay, to just not have straight kind of line, because if you put just one line, it would mean that the corners are like this. Meanwhile, in this bottle, the corners are a little bit kind of rounded, and that's it, yeah. So there's a difference between this corner and this corner. So as we have this, you can kind of emphasize a little bit, for example, the base over here, yeah, because this box is laying on the other one, so you can kind of push it a little bit. Oops, especially the things which are kind of in the shadow part, yeah. So for example, here, if you go, kind of emphasize gently, this part and the, oops, a little bit better, a little bit this part, and a little bit over there, for example, and a little bit somewhere there. Of course, this part going to be probably all in shadow. Here you might see a little bit lighter this part, yeah. This is going to be much more darker, the upper part because it's really in shadow. And here, of course, you're going to have it kind of another line, for example. But if you want to put some kind of shades, you leave a little bit lighter corner, or you just do everything, and after with the eraser, you just erase one thin line. If you draw with the pencils, you can do that. Thin eraser, if you buy, you can actually make it kind of, all this part of the box going to be in certain shadow, yeah, over there, kind of cross hatching. You can play with these shadows. Yeah, you always leave a little bit kind of lighter part, so you're going to have nice, really nice, shading here and there. Of course, here you can also is in exposed to the light, this part, for example, but you can actually add a little bit darker something here and there to just kind of have much more 3D effects, and also here a little bit some kind of line, or even two lighter lines. This is too strong, those are too strong, but let's say something really light, like that, might give you much more dimensionality. And also on this side, you can go and make it a little bit something and disappearing to the white, because by doing so, you will have kind of create this kind of dimensionality of this box, yeah? So after you will go a little bit, let's say you leave a little bit the white, so from here would go a little bit kind of darker this part, a little bit here and there, yeah? So anyway, the shading is not, it's not about the shading. The shading, as I told you, you can actually go to my videos there, and you will kind of be better prepared for doing so. So we go here. Of course, this is the base, yeah? So you can kind of push it a little bit here, okay? You can push this stuff a little bit stronger, yeah, on the base. And of course, on this base as well, you can add a little bit much more stronger line on the base, maybe a little bit nicer, a little bit here, yeah, and a little bit kind of something over there, and a little bit from this side, a little bit from this side. Let's try to do this nicer, yeah, over there a little bit kind of, yeah, you can even add some kind of, shading here. Of course, there you're going to have kind of double lines, yeah. Also here it would be nice to have kind of, thinner and darker line. Also here, yeah, you can actually put this slightly in shadow. You see this part, yeah, of the box, yeah. And of course, the other part in behind over there is going to be a little bit darker because it's in dark, yeah, in the shadow. So from here, this box is going to project some kind of shadow, of course, on the top surface of this box a little bit, yeah. You're going to have some, let's say, some kind of, projection of a little bit kind of shade there. And of course, it's going to be also where it's finished. Look, it goes there, it finishes somewhere there. So somewhere from there, you might have angular shadow. So you might see this kind of shadow actually under this. It all depends on the angle of the light, of course. Yeah, this kind of angles there. But as I mentioned, if you want to kind of learn a little bit much more about this, you will kind of go to my videos about shadow projection and so on. So that's approximately, and this, of course, you're going to have a little bit shading there and so on. You might have a little bit kind of, if we have this situation, might a little bit shadow over there, and also the entire form in this case might be a little bit in shadow, yeah. So you can kind of add a little bit something, to just simply get much more dimensionality. So after, of course, you still have to kind of add a little bit, push it a little bit, certain darknesses here and there, yeah, to get much more kind of, much more kind of dimensionalizing the forms, yeah, a little bit here and there, and also the cap over there. So you just kind of go a little bit certain part, just kind of push it even here a little bit, for example, in this kind of corners a little bit stronger, and so on. So even here and there. So still work to do here and there in order to make this nice, yeah. But at least in this case, let's say you have some kind of shadow over there. So just kind of push some kind of shadows, and we're going to be seeing, of course, some kind of shading from the other side visible there. But anyway, it's not about shadows, it's about construction from the imagination, this kind of boxes. So you see, you can, this kind of forms you can actually very easy get, because you just buy the milk and drink it and just kind of have fun to use it after as a model, and you can actually do all kind of composition with those, yes. Of course, at the end, you can after imagine that there is some kind of, even let's say it's kind of your new house, whatever. So you can kind of imagine that you have some kind of windows there, yeah, over there, and you can kind of transform this entire box with it's something much more, resembling to some kind of complex of let's say architectural complex of buildings or something with some kind of, you see, let's say windows there and there, yeah, and you can actually compose anything you want. You can put even doors there, yeah. So for example, you can have this imagination. You can, I would really advise you to kind of get this kind of little bit crazy ideas, but at the same time you actually, let's say there's some kind of doors, yeah, entrance doors or something, or you might have even some kind of, you see, stairs there, so it's kind of, this kind of boxes you can transfer in completely different thing. Yet let's say you have some kind of, ladder there, or kind of stairs to getting up there and so on. So it's another kind of imaginary aspect of the drawing. So you just go and make it kind of, just give your fantasy kind of chance to explode, and do all kind of things there. Yeah, you can add anything else. You can have some kind of skylights over there, for example. Yeah, over there you can have some kind of skylights. So you can create, all kind of stuff from the simple bottle of milk. You can actually do all kind of different, situations, yeah, and transfer this is something completely different. It could be boat, could be anything, car even, and so on. If you add, for example, wheels over there, for example, there and there, yeah, if you add the wheels perpendicular, so you're going to have what, one tire here, yeah, over there you have kind of one wheel, and another is going to be somewhere there, yeah, over there you have another kind of wheel. And of course, if this is a little bit raised, so you're going to have a little bit much more shadow under, yeah, because of from the wheels, yeah. So you see this kind of creativity of kind of, transferring the forms in completely different stuff, is something very funny to do. Anyway, that's kind of abstraction, of course, but that's the way you can play with these forms. So that will be all for this time, and let's meet again for the another videos about drawing different forms, in drawing in design and architecture. So we'll slowly get all kind of objects, and we're going to kind of manipulate with them to do all kind of different forms and situations. So it's not, first we're going to kind of imagine different perspective, and after we're going to kind of try to transform them always in something else. But anyway, that's all for today. Stay safe. Bye bye everyone. Smile and draw.